All right. What's up? Welcome into 2022, the first episode of Sports Football.
Right. We got a new setup tonight. Jeff, Michael, Lauren, Leal here with you.
Yeah.
And what's going on?
Top dying, trunk hitting hard when I swing through H-time. Cup full of oil and an orange kush sweet. Cause this is how we do it. 713, my candy red paint.
Oh, man.
Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that hit? We used to open up every single show. And here we go with it now. Oh, I'm just now seeing the setup online on Facebook. Thanks so much for tuning in with us, guys. We'll give you a minute to get in with us on all of our social media channels, wherever you can find us at. So, yeah, Jeff, you got to watch out there
My
for
bad.
our logo. we got to, don't.
Yeah.
Be careful with the logo. And now here I go knocking it over. But yeah, we're with you. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are on, or sorry, not Instagram. We have posts on Instagram, but YouTube,
Facebook, Twitter,
you name it.
Twitch, YouTube, every watching us on, man. Really appreciate it. Kristen, Lucas, I know y'all are in. Kevin's in there somewhere. I'm sure we'll see him on here in a minute. But what a wild first 2022 weekend that we've had. Like, it was insane, all the stuff that happened this weekend. From college football to pros to everything. It was just nuts.
To Betty White.
Yes.
Sadly.
Oh,
as well.
man. Betty White. Dude.
I know.
That was
I
brutal.
could not believe that. Like, she has been a legend forever. Has dominated the acting scene from the start. That was hard to hear. But hey, we're starting off a new year. It's 2022. Not I keep making this joke. Not 2022. TOO. Get it? I don't know if he gets it.
I do get it. I'm trying to pull up this stat about Betty White. It is phenomenal. Oh, here it is. So check this out. Real story. Betty White was born so long ago in 1922 that Babe Ruth hit 552 homers after she was born.
What?
Yes. After Betty White was born, Babe Ruth hit 552 home runs.
Oh my gosh.
That's a sports perspective for you. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. We think about Babe Ruth being a legend like a long time ago. Well, she was born and he still hit 552 home runs after she was born.
That's crazy. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in with us tonight. If you notice, like, we're kind of bundled up. I have like tank top, sweater, and jacket on. Jeff had a sweater. He took it off, but he's rocking the beanie.
As you said, the 8 Mile look?
Yeah, I said he's about to go on stage and perform a rap or a flow, whatever the kids call it these days. Mm-hmm. Or he looks like he's going hunting.
Hunting,
fishing, loving every day.
Hunting, fishing. Is that how it goes? Loving every day?
That's Luke Bryan's song. You know it.
All right, look, man, incredible. Like I said, this insane weekend we had of sports. Let's do this. Let's go. I'm down. Let's go. Let's get into it. NFL is in incredibly good hands with the talent that's coming up. Like, Joe Burrow went off the last 2 games. It's just been phenomenal to watch what he's done in the last 2 games. Like,
I mean, he put up over 500 yards against the Ravens. Yesterday against the Chiefs, he had nearly 500, 400 plus.
So 971 yards and
combined.
971, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in 2 games. Now, this
8 touchdowns,
0 picks. And to put that in a little bit of perspective, the only person that's higher than him by 3 yards is Dak Prescott.
So you said
in a 2-game span.
So you said the NFL is in good hands. That's Joe Burrow. Who else do we got?
Yeah, you've got Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert. You got Jalen Hurts coming on. Mac Jones. I mean, all these young quarterbacks, and you've got Tom Brady getting older. Aaron Rodgers getting older. This probably tonight will be the last game we see Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. There's a game next week, but this is probably Ben Roethlisberger's last game. So that whole standard that we've been used to for a very long time looks to be heading out, and you've got this young talent coming in that the NFL looks to be in incredible hands. Offensively wise. I just want to make that, for certain. And look, most of the coaches now are all offense based, like almost all of them. Especially in the NFC, it's all offensive coaches. Even the young coaches, old coach, they're all the defensive coaches left are in the AFC, like Bill Belichick, defensive-minded coach, and there's a couple of them left. But the NFL looks like it put itself in a really good position. This past weekend, was unbelievable football.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the NFL and you talk about the success right now with Joe Burrow and some of the young quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford, we'll get into him. He's not a young quarterback by any means, 9 years in the league, but we can touch on him later on with the Rams.
Definitely.
But we also got to talk some college. Georgia and Alabama spanked Cincy and Michigan. I mean, there was no shot for those other guys too, and it looks like we are going to have an SEC rematchup whenever we get to January 10th. That is when we're going to see Georgia and Alabama go at it again, but this, of course, is going to be for the championship. So lots of good football that happened over the weekend. What was the highlight for you bringing in the new year?
I tell you what, this is crazy. You mentioned college football, and this is absolutely insane. The Notre Dame game. Did you watch this?
A little bit.
Unbelievable what happened in that football game.
So sadly, go ahead.
Well, they were up by 30. Okay, the score was 7-28 at one. Oh, not by 30. They were up by 21. Right, 7-28. This is one with a minute 16 left in the second quarter. The end of the game, 37-28. Oklahoma State scored 30 unanswered points in a New Year's Bowl game against Notre Dame. And if you're a Notre Dame fan like I was and thought that Cincinnati should have been out, and I still think maybe that Notre Dame maybe would have given a little bit better of a fight to Alabama, because I don't even think they broke a sweat. But that was shocking. Unbelievably shocking. 30 straight points, nothing by Notre Dame. They scored. They ended up winning 37-28. Notre Dame didn't score a single point.
37-35.
Oh, they scored a late touchdown. Sorry. But Oklahoma State won,
the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, crazy. And I believe that's 6 in a row for Notre Dame in New Year's Bowl games that they've lost, which is
there's been a conversation about college bowl games and players opting out, and if you think they should opt out whenever it was a huge, it's still a pretty big compliment to be invited to a bowl game.
100%.
But if you think you're going to get hurt, aka Ole Miss's quarterback,
ouch,
who went down, that hurt extremely bad. They played Baylor, and 21-7 is only what they put on the board. And, that was a painful, painful watch. Did you catch this game?
I didn't watch it. I caught highlights. As soon as I found out he was injured, I clicked over to see what was going on. Now, it might just be a high ankle sprain, which is great. That is fantastic. If it's just a high ankle sprain, that just means 4 to 5 weeks recovery. He's good to go.
And we're talking about Matt Corral here. And so they don't think it's going to hurt his odds going into the draft this season. But that's a reason why players would opt out. If they're seniors and they're looking to play on Sundays, well, then they don't want to go to bowl games. Do you think you should have the option to opt out, though?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I mean, because of this reasoning, and it's almost, I don't want to say it's like the all-star games and bowl games are, look, if you are thinking if you're going to miss $50 million, then yeah, you opt out. It's up to them. I don't have a problem with them having an option to opt out. So if they take it, they take it. If they don't, like if you're a senior and you've won 3 national championships and you're in Alabama, then enough. Like, sure, I don't need this game anymore. So there's different ways to look at it, but I don't mind them having an option to opt out. I mean, if the guy, the fear was that he was tore his ACL, MCL, anything like that, that's a year missing off, and of course that's going to hurt his draft stock. But it didn't look like it was like that, so hopefully everything will be all right.
And speaking of torn ACLs, Michael Gallup of the Dallas Cowboys, he will be out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL, and of course Jeff is excited to talk about the Cowboys.
Oh man, I've got some stats to throw at y'all about the Cowboys.
What a turnaround for them. All right, let's get to the rundown. We have so much football talk to go. Let's get
Let's go.
So Antonio Brown, of course, is going to rule the headlines and start off the show first thing in the rundown as he just completely blows up. He took off his pads, his shirt. He left the game. And the Bucs did end up winning over the Jets 28-24. But just, wow, he's just got some issues.
Yeah, look, so real quick, I'll go through the last 3 years with him, okay? And I'll try to do this as quick as possible so you can understand. Deactivated in December 2018, deactivated from the Steelers, Week 17. February of 19, met with Steelers, Art Rooney, both sides move on. Traded with the Steelers in March of 19. Placed on non-football injury list July 2019. Missed the Raiders training camp August 2019. Released from the Raiders in September, a month later. Signed 1-year deal worth up to $15 million with the Patriots a month later in September of 19. And then September 10th through the 16th, ex-trainer Brittany Taylor accuses Brown of sexual assault. Then he got released by the Patriots. Felony burglary and battery on 2 misdemeanors of a moving truck company where he attacked a moving truck driver. Pleaded no contest. Suspended 8 games for multiple violations of NFL's personal conduct policy. Signed 1-year contract in October 2020 with the Bucks. Caught 5 passes, including a touchdown to Buccaneers in the Super Bowl last year. Resigns this year, May 25th, 2021. But then it starts to go south, right? So he gets suspended for the COVID vaccination card.
Right.
3 games. You find out he faked that. His cook, I guess, busted him. And he had a problem with the cook. The cook has some lawsuits on him, too.
Well, I was going to say, like, you mentioned all of these things that were recorded with the suspensions and how he got in trouble. But we look at his social media and all of the posts that he made. Being racist, yelling, just a bunch of stuff that you don't want to see from an NFL team, an NFL player, anybody out there. Well, or having your kids look up to as well. He just has a lot of things going on, and we thought Tom Brady was going to help that.
Well, he did.
Seems like he did.
I think Tom Brady did
He was turning
last
him
year.
around, and then all of a sudden, coach says, "Go out. I want you to play," and he says no.
Well, here's a good point that not a lot of people are really looking at is that this vaccination card thing. I thought, and I even said it on the show and said that this is it for him. He needs to be gone. Like, I mean, you can tell if he's trying to get away with that. I mean, it's just the guy has never, ran a straight line, or at least in the last 4 or 5 years he hasn't. And I think he was really trying to see what he could get away with, right? So the story goes that Bruce Arians told him to go play football, get in the game. He said no. He asked him again to go play football. He said no again. Bruce Arians said, get out of here. Now, that doesn't mean tear your clothes off, start running around in the ends.
That means quit.
That means
quit.
Go get to the bench and wait or whatever. Antonio Brown apparently had an ankle injury he'd been dealing with, but was cleared by the trainers. He looked good jumping around in the end zone. I saw that. So even if he was a decoy out there, if your head coach tells you to go play football and they're paying you, you go play football.
Yeah.
And
it's what you're there to do, and that's why he wanted to get back in the game, obviously.
But I think because Godwin got hurt and they've had multiple injuries on the wide receiver front, that he felt like he could just do and pick and choose what he wanted to. And that wasn't going to happen. And they said, get out of here. And then we all saw the antics, which I've never seen anything like that.
No one has.
I mean,
that's unprecedented.
That was
no
wild. I was like, is this real? Because I'm watching the Red Zone, and they clicked over to this, and I was like, is that going on? And the first thing I thought of, can't wait till Monday's show. Because I was like, Antonio Brown, great for content.
What is going on? I hope that he gets the help. I mean, every person that they interviewed, whether it be Tom or Bruce Arians, they just say, we love him. We hope that if he needs help, he gets it. Because I don't know what screw is loose to make anybody want to do that. Go out there, and you don't want him to injure himself or anyone else for that matter, not wishing that upon anybody, but you just never know if you're not in the right mind. That leads you to where what happens with the Bucs now? You just mentioned Chris Godwin's been out, so AB would be able to step in. Now he's gone. The only option you have is Gronkowski to throw to.
Look, Tom Brady still went 93 yards in 7 plays and threw a 28-yard touchdown pass. I forgot the guy's name and caught it,
and
obviously.
We're talking about over the Jets as well.
Yeah, of course. But they still won that game, and Tom Brady was still Tom Brady. Now, without Godwin, without Antonio Brown, do I think that they're Super Bowl champions? No. Everybody knows it. Don't bet against Brady. It's the old adjective, never bet against Tom. But
because he has the experience. He's been there. And that's different than a lot of other guys that are new that you alluded to at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, he doesn't have the talent around him right now. He doesn't. And some of these teams offensively can really get it done. And last year, they won strictly on defense. I don't want people to think that the Tampa
offensive
Bay
linemen have his back, but he has nobody to hand it off to.
Yeah,
or throw to.
And that defense isn't close to what it was last year. Last year, that defense was phenomenal. They single-handedly won in the playoffs. They were unbelievable in the playoffs. And I think people forget that a lot. They think Tom Brady did that. Man, that defense was unreal. And they're not as good as they are, and they can't score as many points as they could. Because, of course, now Antonio Brown, by the way, has not been released yet. He said he's not a Buck. Bruce Arians did. Hasn't been released. They're waiting on protocol from the NFL. They don't know how to handle the situation yet. My assumption is they'll suspend him for 4 or 5 games, which means that's all of this year, and then let him go. I would assume.
Well, all I know is the commissioner is going to be on Monday Night Football tonight with Peyton and Eli. So,
oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is he's got to sign off on if he's gone or not.
One of the greatest things that happened is that Tom Brady took his team down the field, which was completely overshadowed by Antonio Brown. And the pictures of him waiting on an Uber, and then he got in an Uber with some guy that knows on social media, and then it was hysterical. But
do you think he had this planned going into this game?
No, not at all. I just think that he has an attitude issue, and maybe he was out because this was in New York. Maybe he went out the night before. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is mental health. I have no idea.
Wait. Why does New York have to do with anything?
It's New York. Antonio Brown loves to be social. Maybe he went out in New York City. It's not like it's Milwaukee or somewhere like that. It's New York City. Maybe he knows a couple of people there. He went out the night before and just didn't feel like playing football.
I like this conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
Let's go. I want to hear where it goes.
Look, you can't tell me that NFL athletes don't go out.
Trust me, I know. We know by the NBA and James Harden.
Yes,
here in Houston. So I get it.
It's one of the first things that popped in my brain was did Antonio Brown go out last night and he's just not himself today? I don't know, but there's a lot of things that there's going to be more that comes out to this unless he just really wanted. That's the most Antonio Brown way-ish to ever quit football. That's perfect for him. I hate to say that. I'm not trying to be rude. And if he is sick, I hope he gets help. But if Antonio Brown is going to quit football, that's it right there. He did it perfect.
That's what you would come to expect
from
his past actions.
That's what I'm
so the Bucs are 12-4, NFC South. They clinched the title for that, and they finish at home versus the Panthers this coming Sunday. And we'll see where they go from here. The Panthers, that should be another W in that win column, but that's how they're going to finish the season. And we'll get into the playoff picture a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah, definitely, because those
going off or something.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if that's mine or maybe it is me.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. All right, let's get to our next topic in the rundown, and that is Dan Reeves. The late Dan Reeves, this weekend, he passed away at 77 in his home in Atlanta. So this guy, known as a head coaching legend, but he also played the game as well. He appeared in 9 Super Bowls himself as a player, but then he guided 2 teams to Super Bowls, the Broncos and the Falcons. He coached John Elway in Denver, and like I said, he led the Broncos to 5 division titles, 3 Super Bowls there, and he was also the head coach of the New York Giants. But man, what a repertoire. Just what a resume that he has. And the only guys that have topped him in Super Bowl appearances is Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, right? Wow. So that just puts into perspective who he is, what he has done. And Dan Reeves, you're going to be remembered. And speaking of being remembered, John Elway released a statement on Twitter today saying, if you go read it, it's kind of a long paragraph talking about how he helped him as a player. Sometimes he didn't like what he had to say, but he really helped mold and coached him on the field and off of the field in his life, how impactful he was. And he kind of gave him a ticket and said, you know what, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, because he's not.
38 years in the league and participated in 9 Super Bowls, third most for an individual, like you said. Just unbelievable. Dan Reeves, he was a staple when I was growing up on the sideline. Just one of those guys that was always there, whether it be Atlanta, Denver, wherever he was. Dan Reeves was, an awesome, awesome coach and a great guy for the NFL to have. And they lost another legend. We talked about Madden last week, and that's still going on. I can't wait till they see what they do. I almost cheered up at Al Michaels last night. They did a little special with him. So that was pretty cool.
Right, and on another topic, Kevin Anthony and everybody else out there listening, commenting on the show, we love your comments when you bring up some different topics or just answer some of our questions or throw your take in there. We love it too.
Kevin
he just said,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, we know players go out. Another Las Vegas player got in trouble, DUI. That's right, that came out this morning. I don't have the name on me at the moment, but
cornerback Nate Hobbs.
There you go. So,
Man.
The Raiders,
they need drivers. Like, they need drivers, like personal drivers all the time. I just don't know what's going on over there. And, well, it's Las Vegas now. It's not Oakland. So I just, wow, man.
That is a good point. You brought up AB and the Bucks in New York. Partying, you don't know what he did. I don't know. This is all just speculation.
You know how people act different when they party the night before and they show up to work or whatever. Whether you're a waiter,
he didn't look tired though when he was jumping in the end zone. He's
an incredible athlete, but his brain might have been just maybe he got 2 hours of sleep instead of 8. Like, I don't know, but he just, I mean,
do you ever run off of 2 hours of sleep?
Do you know how messed up you have to be? He's been in the NFL for a very long time, holds a ton of records, and he took his clothes off and ran off the field. Something
in New York.
Something was wrong up there. Look, I get it. If he was going to quit, you can walk to the locker room with your clothes on. You don't have to take all of your clothes off. And a guy from Beaumont actually caught one of the gloves and put it on social media. It's pretty funny. But, like, that's just it's uncalled for. Mm-hmm. Like, you're a professional. You get paid millions of dollars and have been paid, and you're one of the best wide receivers in history over, like, a 5 to 7 year time span with Pittsburgh. You don't have to take your clothes off.
I just want to know, it's hard to get inside the mind of somebody who's not all well or all right. So I just kind of want to know what the reasoning was. Everybody
says he got hit by Vontaze Perfect going over the middle of one game, and everybody says he has CTE from that. Now, he might have CTE, when it come to find out later, but, it's hard for you to wrap your arms around somebody or be passionate or sorry for somebody that has wronged so many people. Like, it's just it's hard. It's hard. Like, I mean, he's constantly in trouble and constantly, beating up bus drivers and, getting, assaults on women. So it's really hard for you to feel sympathetic for somebody like that. If it was any other wide receiver, if Calvin Johnson did this, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, he's messed up in the head. You'd be like, uh-oh, what happened? Something's wrong in the organization. But with Antonio Brown, it's like,
what would you do?
What is wrong? And everybody feels sorry for him. Oh, he needs help. It's like, oh, man.
So what would you do if this was Odell Beckham Jr.?
I would actually think something.
Hothead?
Yeah, hothead, just pissed off. He doesn't have the rack of papers that Antonio Brown does, but almost not on the same lines, but close, just for the team jumping and how he's left teams and how, Antonio Brown has done a lot of people wrong, and this just doesn't sit well with a lot of people, and everybody wants to blame it on mental health. Well, the dude's just out there,
Hey, let's stay away from that
don't
word.
know. Yeah.
You just never know.
You
never
That's
know.
why I said I'm hoping he just went out.
All right.
I'm just
is
hoping
out.
he just did the most Antonio Brown thing ever, and that's just the way we're going to leave it. And that's Antonio Brown. That's the way he wanted to go out. So there you go.
All right, let's get on to our next rundown, and it's an entire game, but talking about stars of the game. So Kansas City Chiefs versus Cincinnati Bengals. It was 34-31. Cincy won, so the Chiefs are now 11-5, Bengals 10-6. And I said the star of the game, well, we have some arguments because there are a lot of awesome players whenever you look at the star-studded team on both sides. Mm-hmm. But Jamar Chase, 11 receptions for 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a 72 in long. You look at this guy, Joe Burrow even alluded to it in the post-game press conference saying, I can just chunk it out there and I can't even see, but I know he's going to catch it. Mm-hmm. And it highlighted to one of the games, and he ran it into the end zone. It was right there. But we talked about Joe Burrow earlier too. You really see this connection with these guys that carried over from college to here at LSU. Definitely. And Joe Burrow finished, as you said earlier, 4 touchdowns, nearly 500 yards, and almost having 2 weeks of the same yardage in a row. Just incredible.
It's unbelievable, and it's not just Joe Burrow and it's Cincinnati and what's going on. Look, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon are all top 5 in their respective positions, all of them, which is unbelievable. Jamar Chase, obviously, we know about the last 2 weeks, 900-something yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Only Dak Prescott had more by 3 yards. But, all of them being in the top 5 puts your team in a really good position. This is sad for a lot of Houston Oilers fans, which I was growing up. The last playoff win that the Cincinnati Bengals had was in 1990.
Wow.
And they blew out the Houston Oilers. Almost said Texans. Whoa.
That was 32 years ago?
Yeah, the last one. And so yesterday's win for Cincinnati locks up
33.
At least one game at home for Cincinnati. They're going to have a playoff game in Cincinnati. That is going to be unbelievable.
Wow.
That's great for that city, great for that team, and it shows you the drafting, unbelievable. And obviously Burrow and Chase being from LSU, like you alluded to, they've played together for years, and man, you can just see it. Like those two without injuries, and people forget that Joe Burrow got that knee injury last year. Devastating knee injury. And man, you want to talk about a cocky individual but can back it up? Joe Burrow. The last 2 weeks, only one other quarterback's done it better.
So get this. Cincinnati had 446 receiving yards. Guess how many rushing yards they had? 60.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
they did not keep it on the ground that much, but whenever they did, they got far. Like I said, with Joe Mixon, he had 46 yards. Burrow had 10 himself, not much, but it was mainly through the air and, of course, to Chase, Higgins, and Mixon, and then Tyler Boyd got a touchdown as well. So they've got some options out there, unlike the Bucs, like what we were talking about. It's basically depleted on the offense.
I'm going to also give a lot of credit to Cincinnati's defense. Okay, this is a tale of two halves, right? Kansas City, first quarter 14, second quarter 14, 28 points. Unbelievable. It was 28-17 at halftime.
Held them to 3.
3 points. Cincinnati's defense held that offense, Pat Mahomes and that offense, to 3 points the entire second half. That's what won them the game.
And we talk about like how great of a quarterback Joe Burrow was in this game, and of course previous games before this season. But so was Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He had 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not as impressive as Burrow, but it's not like they were doing wrong things or bad things like we've seen this season. It was a good game.
Yeah, Jamar Chase had more receiving yards than Pat Mahomes had passing. That right there is just mind-blowing.
Oh, my gosh. Of course, Kevin Anthony, you are going crazy right now, you huge Tiger fan.
He loves LSU. I mean, look, I have if Cincinnati can play like this and their defense can play like this, I put them up there with a lot of teams. Like they can upset some people, and especially winning their division where now they have a home playoff game. They could possibly win that first playoff game and, maybe get to the AFC Championship. I don't know yet, but the last 2 weeks for Cincinnati, if you're a Bengals fan, it's been a really long time. This is fantastic.
Yeah, they're first in the AFC North. It's great for them. Question here, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
You're on the other side of it, right? You're on the other team. You're the Chiefs, whoever they're playing. How do you beat out Joe Burrow? And I'm not talking about just keep them off the field, eliminate turnovers so they're not on the field. How do you beat Joe Burrow and this Bengals team?
I mean, first of all, you're going to have to start to double coverage Jamar Chase. I mean, on that last drive, he threw it up to him twice.
Figured out?
They will now. Trust me, they're going to pay attention to how to do this now, and that's why defensive coordinators are defensive coordinators. They will figure this out. And I mean, he threw it up to Jamar Chase twice last week. They need coverage or help over the top on him. Every time that he saw Chase one-on-one, he just threw it right at him. And granted, there was some really bad defense by the Kansas City Chiefs, but Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have an incredible
I thought you were about to say, go, Joe.
No.
It sounded like you were going to say.
I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. I love his cockiness. He's back it up. He's he's as cocky as Baker Mayfield, but he's better.
He looks like Home Alone. Yeah. That's something that stays in my head.
Yep. He's good. I mean, go Cincinnati for them getting a home playoff game. I'm excited for this year's playoffs, and we're going to get to it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, can you believe this coming up weekend is going to be week 18? Wow.
Yeah.
That is weird. That is weird.
I'm excited. I'm glad the NFL flexed 2 games out on Saturday, which are the most important ones. And then, because Sunday, there's about 8 games that just don't mean anything. Like, they really don't. And you just don't want players to get hurt.
Yeah, you already got teams eliminated. One of them that's playing tonight in the Browns. So
yeah, that sucks because this game would have been way more interesting if
they both had implications.
Yeah, and instead of Ben Roethlisberger's last game, seemingly his last game at Heinz Field and, going out as a Pittsburgh Steeler, it should be interesting. That's the storyline now. If Cleveland had a chance to make the playoffs, this game would be way better. But right now, I think it's Pittsburgh -3. I'd take that all day long because I think Cleveland, I'd be surprised if they left Baker in there much longer. I mean, he's already so injured. Why are you risking your franchise quarterback?
Is he the franchise quarterback? They haven't had conversations on that contract
Yeah, I don't know.
extension. He has, one more year left, I believe?
Yep.
Yeah?
That's it.
Is that right?
That's going to be this will be a fun offseason for us.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
A lot of movement. I was talking about that on a show this weekend about like the upcoming look for Houston teams, Astros, Rockets, Texans, and the Texans have 27 players right now under 1-year contracts.
Yep. It's going to be
Talk
fun.
about just keeping young.
Well,
they're going to remain to grow and grow and grow. And they have a first-round pick.
We're all waiting to see what happens with Watson, right? That's it. Like that's
he's
everybody's waiting.
out.
But it doesn't matter if he's not a Texans. How many draft picks are you getting? Like where? So you're waiting on that. Like I mean, what are you going to get for Watson?
The Texans have a first-round draft pick. They have another first-rounder, and they're possibly going to get another top 5. The last time they had a first-round draft pick was in 2019, and that was Titus Howard.
And they will get 3. They'll get 3 first-rounders for Watson. So you talk about, and now
Do
granted,
you think the trade value is going to be that high,
Sure.
even if there comes to some conclusion?
He's a top 5, top 6 quarterback in the NFL.
But if none of these plaintiffs get released, or I don't know the correct terminology
Paid
for
off.
it, paid off.
Paid off.
well,
They've already look.
he's
They've
still be
already.
worth, you
They've
know?
these. He's already tried to settle, and a lot of these girls said no. So it's a process. Will he be
That's so
available?
weird.
Will he be available by the start of preseason next year? Whew, no idea.
Yeah.
Like that is it's an interesting conversation, and look, it's going to make for a lot of good conversations that we're going to have at 6 p.m. on Mondays and Thursdays.
That's right. That's right. Right here, SWB, we will be with you. And Jason is our new producer. He has been doing such a phenomenal job. We love the new setup each week.
That's why we look so good now.
He doesn't have exactly. He
Well,
makes
I look
us
pale.
look good.
I need to go to I'm going to the tanning.
I look very pale.
I'm going to the tanning salon. I'm going to go do this again.
Didn't you
Burn my butt.
burn your butt?
Burn my butt real bad. It itched for a week.
Yeah, Jason, he burned his butt in the tanning salon.
Itched for a week, bro. Like a
Butt
week.
itches.
Like I couldn't sit down because it itched so bad. Like a burn. I didn't know you were supposed to wear underwear or put on something. I don't know. Anyways, that was a long time ago. But Lauren obviously tan, and just because you just got back from Florida for New Year's.
I did.
And it was 80 something degrees.
It was like it got like the highest I think was 81 or 82, but it didn't during the day it did not go under 76, 77 degrees.
Okay.
But was it the same in Houston?
It was up until yesterday morning, I believe.
And I was on an island because I know
Oh
you don't
my
like to call them
God.
islands.
Here we go.
But yeah, it was gorgeous in
Oh,
Florida.
Kevin's comment. Keep talking the trash about the Cowboys. Well, guess what? Isn't that our next subject?
That's our next subject on the rundown, the Dallas Football Cowboys.
Oh, man.
So they lost to the Cardinals yesterday, 25-22. They are first in the NFC East with a record of 11-5, but they knocked down their playoff seeding yesterday. They were in the number 2 spot. They were flagged, though, 10 times. Talk about penalties for 88 yards, and that included 4 offensive holding penalties that negated 2 first down runs. And this is not the first time that they've had a lot of penalties in the game. They did against the Raiders early in the season when they had 14 against them. But, Jeff, I don't think that's the only problem in yesterday's game versus Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
That's not even close to the only problem that the Cowboys have. Look, they never led in this football game. And I want to remind you that the Dallas Cowboys were at home, all right? And they had just scored, what 54 on Washington the week before, however many?
56, you're correct, on the road.
On the road in Washington.
No, sorry, that was at home.
Or was that home?
Apologies.
Everybody was, ready to hand the Dallas Cowboys the Super Bowl trophy. I'm going to read off 6 quarterbacks that they've beat this year. Okay, Mike Glennon, Tyler Heineke twice, the early Mac Jones, and that game went to play. They went to overtime and not barely. Jalen Hurts, Taysom Hill. That's 5 of their wins against. Those aren't even quarterbacks, really.
Those are quarterbacks.
Really? Davis Mills at this point might be better than every one of those.
Whoa.
And is he a quarterback?
Over Heineke, you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, they haven't beat anybody. If you go down their record, I mentioned this the other day, they don't have a staple win. They don't. And when Dak throws 37 to 40 times, they lose. He threw 38 times last night. Guess how many rushing yards the Dallas Cowboys had last night?
Oh, I'm looking at that right now. 45? Oh.
You're not going to win. I'm sorry, you're not going to win.
Well, like I said a minute ago, the Bengals only had 60, but they had a lot of offensive help.
Ezekiel Elliott had 9 carries for 16 yards. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. And then you got Dak Prescott who can't hit a flag route.
Dak had more rushing yards with 20.
Yeah, it's just the Dallas Cowboys haven't faced a real team. And the Arizona Cardinals, let's not forget.
I have a question, though, because this is the same, before you get onto that, for the Dallas Cowboys, as far as their offense goes, we talked about their defense and how they've changed things around from last season to this season. But ever since Mike McCarthy has been there, I feel like this has to fall on some of the coaching. You have so much talent. How are you not meshing with your guys?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly where I'm getting at, too. And Trayvon Diggs, for as many interceptions as he's had this year, he's
phenomenal.
the number 1 yardage against cornerback in the NFL. Unbelievable. Yeah, you think he's this unbelievably baller? He gets smoked constantly. Yeah, I mean, he's got interceptions. I understand that, but you cannot give up. He's the number 1. He gives up the most yards as any cornerback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Like, and look, again, everybody knows I'm not the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan, but Arizona also, they didn't have James Conner, Rondale Moore, or DeAndre Hopkins. And they were in Dallas. This is in Dallas. Yeah. You cannot do that. And look, this game was only closed for about 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. The rest of the game, it was over.
Oh, I know. Dallas put up 15 to even make it a game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was. Dallas. They have problems, and the problem is you can't win in the playoffs with a B+ quarterback, and that's what Dak Prescott is. He's not amazing. He was 3 for 11 on third downs.
I was watching some highlights of him a couple of weeks ago, and he just looked very uncomfortable. He looked very uncomfortable. Like it was so easy to read him and who he was going to throw the ball to, where the ball was going, if it was staying on the ground or not. And I just wonder, like, how much coaching is he really getting?
Well, I don't know if McCarthy.
And at a quarterback position, like you gotta have that mentality to get the ball out quick in general.
We're
a leader. We're seeing that so fast with Mac Jones.
Yeah, and Kyler Murray last night was fantastic. Like, people forget that. I mean, him running around, like, he was fantastic. Mm-hmm. He had the same rating as Dak Prescott, but he rushed, and he wasn't. Dak Prescott was 3 for 11 on third downs. You can't do that. And you're at home. You have all your weapons. And even Schultz is an incredible tight end now. Why are you not like, if you're Dallas Cowboys fans, which I know Kevin's out there, you tell me what was your excuse for losing this game. Don't blame it on the refs. Don't blame, like, what's your excuse? You have all your talent. Where was CeeDee Lamb? And look, even worse out of that game is that you got Gallup that tore his ACL. I mean, so it was a really bad day for Dallas. Now Dak Prescott has another weapon gone. I guess Wilson would be your only thing like Cedric Wilson would be the only highlight of the Dallas Cowboys day. And when Cedric Wilson is your highlight, you're not winning if you're the Dallas Cowboys.
I just don't know how they're going to take this mentality.
Garrett just put like 3 bases.
Oh, yes.
When Cedric Wilson is your highlight, you know you're not winning. Ezekiel at 16 yards, like Dak Prescott, your leading rusher. This was all at home. After coming off, which all you guys were like, oh, man, look at that offense from last week. And I kept telling y'all you played a COVID just riddled Washington team, and that wasn't impressive at all. And now you're at home and get blown out by a injured, not blown out, but they never led the whole game, by an injured Arizona Cardinals. They don't have their number 1 wide receiver, and James Conner's the number 1 rushing in touchdowns this year, and they didn't have him either.
You were getting into week 18, like I just mentioned, okay? All right.
Sorry.
So, no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just alluding to, after all this conversation about the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
How do you take this momentum of, comebacks, which is what we saw the Kansas City Chiefs do so many times, coming back to win it in the end, which they didn't yesterday, but they could have. How do you take that mentality into the playoffs, and do you have any faith in them?
No, I don't. And I don't think anybody does at this point, even if you're a Cowboys fan. Like, I mean, better teams will beat you. Better teams will beat you. And it's because, it's not because your defense.
They dropped from the 2nd seed to the 4th seed in the NFC, and they're right behind the Bucs, and then the Rams are in front of them, and then the Packers, which the Rams is a very interesting story, too, as they were so hot at the beginning of the season. OBJ comes to their team, and they were just kind of like struggling through. And I don't know if that was like that mid-season form type of identity crisis. And now they're back. But the Rams are number 2 now, which were the Dallas Cowboys where they were before losing yesterday.
They got a tough game. They have a tough game against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia coming up. And right now the line sits at -7. The Eagles can run the football.
You never thought you would say that.
Right?
Eagles.
The Eagles. Like, I mean, this team they know how to run the football. And it is the ugliest team to watch, but it works. Whatever they're doing works. And like Jalen Hurts, thank you for catching some people that fell out of the stands yesterday. That was pretty, unbelievable.
That was crazy, right?
He took pictures with all.
Imagine if you fall and then you're like, hi, Jalen Hurts. But like he was so calm and collected and was like, are you okay? You know what? He's got that Southern hospitality. He's from here.
He's
from here, people.
Graduated Oklahoma, not Alabama, which a lot of people think. But
right.
Look, the Cowboys. I
want to. Came in for Baker, right?
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, he transferred. It's gonna be fun to watch this Cowboys-Eagles game because I think the Eagles want to move up and they have something to play for. And Dak Prescott going down to a team that can run the football like that. You got Gregory and Micah Parsons, and they go from having these incredible football games against these lackluster teams to playing teams that actually have talent, and they don't show up. Like, where was Micah Parsons yesterday? All y'all were talking all this smack about Micah Parsons being Rookie of the Year. Oh, my God, he's just flat out amazing. Where was he?
Who's Rookie of the Year now?
Well, that's a great question. Mac Jones, I believe, is still there, but Jamar Chase, my goodness, like Rookie Offensive Player of the Year, and then I think one of them, I don't know, like that's hard because Mac Jones, their team's amazing, but what Jamar Chase is doing right now is unbelievable, unbelievable. I don't know. That's a toss up for me because I like both of them.
Right. Just looking at some stuff here really quick. But, I mean, as we get closer, we're going to, MVP talks, who's leading, all of this stuff. Sorry, I'm going through my notes right here, going through different tabs because the internet in this studio. But, we talk about the Eagles. They're in the 7th spot in the NFC. So let's go through this playoff picture that we have really quick.
Let's do it.
All right, we have the NFC. Since we already talked about it, let's stick with it for a minute. We got the Packers at 13-3. Just, wow. Aaron Rodgers going all the way. Will he get another MVP year
100%.
as well?
100%. That's your MVP of the league.
Okay.
Sure.
Over Mac Jones.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's Rookie of the Year, but like
true.
Aaron Rodgers has again. They're 13-3, best record in the league. I got to look up his record, but as of last game, he was the last 3 games like 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Like, I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers, all on a broken toe. The guy looks amazing, and they're not going to play him this next week, and they get a first round bye week, so he's going to have 2 weeks to rest that toe. Packers are going to come out really strong in the playoffs, and there's going to be a team.
Hope so sometimes too much rest can be a bad thing.
As you go down the list, right? So you get to Philadelphia, San Francisco, Arizona. We're talking about the NFC playoffs. What if the Cowboys have to go into Lambeau?
I mean, that's going to be tough. It's something that you always bring up and we laugh about, but the weather.
One of those teams, Dallas. Well, when you get into January and February playing in Lambeau,
it's hard.
Oh, my God, the Cowboys, the Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers, they will all have problems there. Philadelphia.
So, let's go down that. The NFC, like I said, the Packers 13-3. We got the Rams, as I alluded to earlier, in second place, 12-4 is their record. The Bucks at 12-4 as well. And then we got the Cowboys, who dropped from 2-4, 11-5. Arizona Cardinals 11-5, and then the Eagles down 2 losses from those at 9-7. So we'll see if anyone in the hunt is the 49ers. They're also 9-7. They're 3rd in the NFC West, though, and then on the bubble,
the New Orleans
teams
Saints
would be on the outside looking in the season if the season ended today. So they're 8-8, 500.
Yep.
I don't even know how they would weather going into
if you're the Saints, or whoever's going to play them, I guarantee you, it's almost like a first round bye. Like it really is. I mean, granted, their defense can do something, but if they're not playing at home, which they won't be, I don't see the New Orleans Saints. And Taysom Hill is your quarterback, and
they don't have anybody.
Alvin Kamara hasn't done a lot this year, so I don't see them being a threat. Again, it goes down to the Fab Five, which Packers, Rams, Bucks, Cowboys, Cardinals. I mean, that's your Fab Five, and that should be your the last teams in the playoffs. I don't see how anybody else could beat those teams at all. San Francisco's not all about it. Philadelphia Philadelphia could upset somebody. It'll be fun to watch Philly. I would love to see Philly and Dallas match up in the playoffs. That would be awesome.
Philly and Dallas. I mean,
That
yeah,
would be
fun
great.
rivals. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're literally about to see them this next week, so it'd be a preview of that.
It'd be great if they did it 2 in a row. It'd be unbelievable.
Speaking of games, we got one tonight in the Browns and the Steelers, and I just got to say Kareem Hunt is out as far as the inactives. However, they're not.
They wouldn't play him anyways. I'd be surprised if
they're
Chubb,
not in the playoffs.
I'd be surprised if Chubb plays that much. I mean, why? Why would you? Chubb's already been in and out of the lineup this year with injuries. Why would you play him? It's a meaningless game for the Browns this week and next week, and that's what a lot of people were upset about the 18 weeks. These games for the next 2 games don't mean anything for the Browns. So what do you do?
Yeah, they're eliminated, and it's kind of like what we mentioned earlier with college bowl games, like guys wanting to opt out if they're going into the NFL draft. However, I still would support them if they played.
Baker should, yeah, of course, but Baker should take the next 2 weeks off. I mean, why wouldn't you? He's been hurt. He has 5 injuries.
Shoulder.
Just take some time off, bro. Real.
I agree. All right, we've been talking about the NFC. Let's switch over to the American Football Conference, and we got the Titans in first place. Which who would have thought? They're 11-5, same record as the Chiefs, who are second.
Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, should get some votes for Coach of the Year. Who's their stars? Who's their stars? You've got A.J. Brown, who's been hurt. Derrick Henry's been out for 3 months now.
And they still have so many rushing yards on their season.
And
That's
Ryan
something that I can
Tannehill.
look up too.
Ryan Tannehill's your quarterback. He's not a superstar. So what? I mean, Mike Vrabel has done a fantastic job with this team. I'm shocked. They are number 1 in the AFC playoff standings with no Derrick Henry for 3 months.
I know.
And today they got news that he could be back in 2.5 weeks.
Right. I heard that as well. And that's a question. Do you throw him back into the mix after being out that long?
It's Derrick Henry. You just give him the ball. Yes, of course. I mean, he would have shattered the NFL rushing record if it wouldn't have been if he wouldn't get injured. He would have shattered it. Shattered it. But, he got hurt. And so Jonathan Taylor won me my fantasy football league. So good job. We'll get into the Colts in a minute.
Yeah. They're still trying to get in there in the hunt. So number 3, we got the Bengals behind the Chiefs, 10-6, which that win helped them yesterday.
Oh yeah.
The Bills, they clinched the playoffs. They're 10-6, number 4, and then it's weird to say, but the Patriots are number 5 at 10-6 as well. So we have a lot of the same. We have 3 teams with the same record, and they just won over the Jaguars. Talking about the Patriots, so it wasn't hard for them. The Bills over the Falcons, and in the hunt, we got number 6, the Colts at 9-7. Both teams at 9-7, and the Los Angeles Chargers as well. They're second in the AFC West, and the Colts are second in the AFC South. Of course, my Texans are sitting in the last place.
Raiders will end up winning that last playoff spot because the Steelers aren't going to get it, I don't think, because the Raiders owe the tiebreaker. The Steelers have to win their next 2. Raiders have to lose their next 2. So Baltimore Ravens, they're not going to get in. What's terrible, and we mentioned this weeks and weeks and weeks ago, when Lamar Jackson's off that team, they're done. And that's exactly what's happening. I mean, you take Lamar Jackson away from the Ravens, and that team is just not. It's not the Baltimore Ravens.
However, yesterday was a game that was winnable for the Ravens.
So right now, you've got the Tennessee Titans. Will have a bye the first week. Projected Kansas City Chiefs versus the Chargers first round. Incredible football game.
Okay, so sorry, I'm still sticking with the Ravens here for a minute because they're at 500, and we were talking about they're number 10. They're on the bubble. If they're not probably going to go into the playoffs. No Lamar Jackson.
They have
not really
2%
many
chance.
people. They're not really many people on that offense, anyways, to get into the end zone. So we talked about the game yesterday against the Rams. The Rams win by 1, and you're talking about a Rams team that is 12-4, and they're second behind the Packers in the NFC. How does that happen?
Because Matt Stafford is the best fourth quarter NFL quarterback we've seen in decades.
He is.
I mean, in the fourth quarter, he's 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, the best passer rating in the whole league. I understand he makes mistakes.
He's never won a playoff game, though.
Well, it's been with Detroit. So right now,
and that's true.
As of right now, they're scheduled to play the Philadelphia Eagles. They would win that.
The Rams?
Game. Yes, they would win that game. And
we said they would win over the Ravens, and they did by one.
Every one of those NFC playoff games is going to be phenomenal. I mean, honestly, if you go down, so you just mentioned the AFC, Tennessee, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, New England, Indianapolis, Chargers. Any team plays any team of those games, they're going to be great. And then you go down the
playoffs, of course they will.
The NFC, the first 5 are unbelievable all the way to Arizona. But then, San Francisco is beatable. Philadelphia, I think, is the only team that could actually maybe upset a team. And right now they're scheduled to play the Rams, which I don't think that they would. The Rams have a ton of weapons. OBJ looks like he's actually making a little bit of a comeback. It looks like he's it's almost like he's the Antonio Brown of last year. And if the Rams get there, OBJ gets his ring.
That's what he's been wanting, and his dad has been wanting, clearly.
They're good.
Thomas says, Jeff, it's not ugly. It's what playoff football is. Tons of leaders on the Eagles.
Yeah, no, look, the Eagles, man, they have been playing. It is ugly. It is ugly football. It's not your Los Angeles Rams. It's not your Cincinnati Bengals. It's not your Kansas City Chiefs. They're not throwing the football everywhere. It's a bunch of 5, 7, 12-yard runs, some gritty football, some defense. It's old school. It's ground and pound, old school football. They mix it up. They have a lot of different plays that they do with pulling guards, pulling tackles here. And it's crazy to watch, but they win football games. They keep them low scoring, and they just outscore their opponents because of their defense. The Philadelphia Eagles, because they manage the clock so well, and Jalen Hurts can run, they have a chance to beat anybody. And that's the team that I think that would upset somebody. I really, really do.
How do you feel if they were to match up right now in the Philadelphia Eagles and
they're scheduled the Rams? The Rams, well, the Cardinals, oh, man. I mean, the Eagles and Cardinals, that would be interesting. I mean,
obviously they're both in the NFC.
I still would say the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is the X factor there. What he did last night with Dallas, I mean, he's quick. Kyler Murray is quick, and he's finally starting to get healthy. I don't know if they get James Conner back and DeAndre Hopkins back, they're going to be a really, really tough football team.
I think DeAndre Hopkins is out for the season.
I need to look at that. I don't know if they can get him back. James Conner is phenomenal. But if any of these teams, there's a lot of weather involved. Like if you have to go to New England to play, if you got to go to Green Bay and play, even if you have to go to Philly, which they're going to be at the end, it won't be the first game. But those are tough places. The Bucs is going to be an easy place to play. The Rams is an easy place to play. The Cowboys is an easy place to play. But if you're talking about going into Green Bay, I mean, all your offense changes. If Arizona goes into Green Bay, their offense completely changes. And if they don't have James Conner, they're in deep trouble.
I mean, that's good points. It's like we said, it literally is weather.
Yeah, January and February. That's what it's all about. That's why Green Bay is a open stadium. And man, it's rough to play up there in the playoffs.
Let's talk about this for a minute. Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Adams. Just wow.
Yeah.
The connection between these two, seems pretty unstoppable, right?
Top 3 duo ever, maybe. I mean, they're getting it up there.
Who's behind them?
It's funny. Like Big Ben and Antonio Brown that was unreal for a good 5-6 years.
And if you're Big Ben yesterday, what are you thinking about Antonio Brown and his performance?
You're not. Oh, Green Bay. One really crazy thing since we're on that. The last 48 starts before Matt LaFleur came there, Aaron Rodgers, 24, 23, and 1. The next 48 starts with Matt LaFleur, 39 and 9.
Wow.
Matt LaFleur is not getting enough credit because everybody thought that him and Aaron Rodgers had beef, that they weren't going to get along. 39 and 9.
And wasn't it recently that they did have beef?
Yeah, I mean, everybody thought at the very beginning of the season. At the
very beginning of the season, whenever he said, I want more control or at least to know what's going on in the front office with the vets, with the release of guys, and just to kind of be more in the know of draft picks and stuff like that. But I thought there was also, in addition to that, some situation with Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur that he wanted to resolve.
Well, there's another thing out there that says Devonta Adams might move on from Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers is not playing without Devonta Adams there. That's not happening. It's not going to happen. It's insane.
If Green Bay goes to the Super Bowl and wins it all, is Aaron Rodgers done?
No. There's no
Is he
chance
still a
because
Packer?
he's going to win MVP. No, that's what I'm saying. If Devonta Adams is gone, no, he's going to get it. It's going to be unbelievable. But look, we had an unreal Week 17 in the NFL. It's been absolutely insane. AB runs off the field. Burrow beats Mahomes. Jamar goes for 266 and 3 touchdowns. Cincinnati wins the AFC North. Just insane. OBJ scores his 5th touchdown in LA. Fans fall on Jalen Hurts. New England and Seattle both score 50 points. Brady leads a game-winning drive with no wide receivers that we know of. AB cut by the Bucks. Russell Wilson threw 4 touchdowns yesterday, 3 to DK Metcalf.
Good job. He needed that. He really needed that win.
Denver, Cleveland, and Miami all eliminated yesterday. Just a wild Week 17 of football.
You're talking about football in the NFL, but I keep going back to college football as well because it's the bowl games and it's the playoffs with Alabama and Georgia and Cincy and Michigan now out of it. So we'll get to see that rematch.
Cincinnati had no. I'm glad that game got played out like I am, but Alabama never broke a sweat. It was unreal.
Yeah.
Like they never even played football. They were just out there like in a scrimmage game. It was it was just it was over in the second quarter. And so was the Georgia game. Like Michigan, what the F? Like, I mean, I really I don't know what happened because everybody was like Harbaugh, the programs want to see Michigan in the championship game. They want to see the purple, the blue and gold. Wow. I mean, just got blown off the map. It wasn't even a ball game in the second quarter as well. So for those of y'all that don't want to see Alabama and Georgia again, we're going to, and you're also getting the 2 best teams. Yeah. I mean, you are. So there you go.
We knew that Georgia, from the get-go, boom, they're going to be in it.
Yeah, because of their defense.
Winners.
Yeah,
who are you taking for that game? I guess we'll have to wait till it gets closer. Or
yeah, let's wait.
I mean,
Thursday. Thursday we'll do the picks.
You feel like, at least for me, it's not. So the game's not until January 10th. So for me,
it's a week from today.
Georgia, you have a solid answer with how they've played all season. Alabama's been kind of up and down, surprisingly. So we'll see. Bryce Young, amazing.
Yeah, that kid has.
Kirby Smart knows what he's doing as well. So
Bryce Young's got intangibles. He's unbelievable. All right, look, man, we're running up against it. Lauren Leal, what is your New Year's resolution for this year?
I totally thought you were going to say Lauren Leal. What is the deal? And I was like,
no.
Well, it's time for dinner. That's what the deal is.
Yeah.
New Year's resolution. I've been talking about this, and my New Year's resolution is going to really be focused in on everything that I'm doing. So I get really scattered. I do a lot of different things, jobs, friendship, whatever. Just focus in on every single aspect of what I'm doing so I give my all to it.
Nice. All right. How about you? Mine's to let things go. Learn to relax a little bit instead of stressing out over things that I cannot control. So just be easier. Just let things go a little bit more instead of letting them weighing on me.
I like that. It sounds like you need to talk to a coach in a locker room because don't let go of what you cannot control,
For sure, man. All right, y'all. Look, thank you, Lauren Leal. Thank Jason a ton, man, for making us look like we do. We will be back Wednesday, and Lauren will be back Thursday night. We will see you guys at 6 p.m. This is Sports with Balls. I'm Jeff Michael. That's Lauren Leal.
See you then.
We're out.
Have a good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Cup full of oil and an orange kush sweet. 'Cause this is how we do it in the